And Jay became a trustee of our organization. He served as treasurer for a short period of time. But when he had to move out of town, that wasn't going to work out anymore. But he has still been on our board, and he is very active. And speaking, he did, well, he'll talk about other accomplishments later on. If you like the idea of recording our history, you can help a lot by just becoming a member. And I did put the membership link in the chat box. So if you go to the chat box, you can find that there. And I'll turn the meeting over to Jay.
Thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen right now. I just want to make sure everybody can see it clearly. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So as somebody who is from South Euclid, I've always been fascinated by every aspect of my local area. And I would like to share with you some notable people from the South Euclid, Lyndhurst, Ohio, USA area. Oftentimes when we think of some of the greatest and most famous people in our society, our minds often associate such individuals with very high positions that are usually not within our general geographic area. However, there have been many individuals from the South Euclid Lyndhurst area that are quite notable and are quite famous in many different regards. So I would like to please share with you some of these individuals. First off, though, I would like to explain where South Euclid and Lyndhurst are located. South Euclid and Lyndhurst are located, South Euclid and Lyndhurst. South Euclid and Lyndhurst are located in Northeast Ohio, in the Great Lakes region of the United States of America. They are eastern suburbs of Cleveland. Who were the mayors of South Euclid? There have been 10 mayors of South Euclid since its creation in 1917. The current mayor is Georgine Wheelow, and she has been serving in the position since 2003. Who were the mayors of Lyndhurst? Prior to its renaming in 1920, Lyndhurst was known as Euclidville. This name caused great confusion with the local postal services at the time, as there were the three cities of Euclid, South Euclid, and Euclidville. Therefore, there was a competition held to rename the city of Euclidville to a new name. And that competition was won by a local student who chose the name Lyndhurst after Lyndhurst, New Jersey. So there have also been 10 mayors of Lyndhurst, with the current one being Patrick A. Ward. And as you can see, there were 2 mayors of Euclidville. So here are some very notable people from the South Euclid Lyndhurst area. Richard Barone. Richard Barone is an American entrepreneur, investment advisor, and activist. He is a businessman who opened the American Porcelain Museum in the Telling Mansion estate in South Euclid, which is the current location as well of our own South Euclid Lyndhurst Historical Society. Since the founding of some of his new ventures, we have been a very close colleague of his. In 2002, he founded the Encore Group, which focuses on financial investment management for families, businesses, and institutions. The firm offers solutions in family, wealth, asset management, retirement plans. Value investing is an investment paradigm that involves buying securities that appear underpriced by some for a fundamental analysis. If I could I please request that everybody please mute
I've been
on their side.
muting a few people here.
Right. Pharaoh Brown, American football player.
No.
Yeah.
Brown's career began when he initially committed to play for the University of Michigan in 2011, but signed a letter of intent to play for the University of Oregon in 2012. He was drafted by the Oakland Raiders in 2017, who are now known as the Las Vegas Raiders, and he played for the Cleveland Browns as well. He currently plays as a tight end for the Houston Texans, and his jersey number is 85. Laura Brunkhalla, American actress and director. Laura Brunkhalla is originally from South Euclid and was part of the Charles F. Brush High School class of 2004, which was the exact same class that I graduated from. I have known Laura for many, many years, as we also went to elementary school together. She is best known for her roles as the cadet in the 2014 TV series Key and Peele, Angie in the 2014 short film The Birthing Field, and Rebecca in the 2016 comedy series Dumb Law Cops. And she played herself in the 2017 action TV series Brunkhalla. She attended the Miami University of Ohio and quickly became involved in the film department there. She was inspired to move to Los Angeles and pursue acting after attending and being part of the first ever Ford International Film Festival. Here she met many professionals in the film industry, such as Missy Pyle, John Putsch, and David DeLuise. They suggested that if she were to move to Los Angeles, she would be very successful in the film industry. She has directed, produced, and acted in everything from short films to TV pilots, TV shows, to feature films and commercials. Laura has been in commercials for Beneful, Hotmail, Little Caesars, Siva, and recently has been in a new commercial for the Bank of America. Charles F. Brush, American engineer, inventor, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. One of the founders of the modern electric industry, Mr. Brush perfected the system of electric arc lighting, making it practical for commercial use. He installed the first electric light system in Cleveland, Ohio, which was in 1879, which was the first in the United States. He is best noted for the invention of the arc light and arc lamp, electrical inventions that allow modern street lighting to be what it is. He is also responsible for nearly 50 other inventions, but the arc light and the arc lamp are some of his best known ones. One of his other most prominent inventions was the wind dynamo, which was the world's first automatically operated wind turbine. He built his first static electric machine at age 12 and constructed his first arc light while he was still in high school. His arc lamp is what allows modern streetlights to be what they are, even though his invention isn't used too much in modern streetlights in the current designs, though it was the basis for what became the modern designs in modern streetlights. However, his invention is still used in searchlights and cinema production. Charles F. Brush High School in Lyndhurst, Ohio, was named after him. Eric Carmen, American musician. Eric Carmen is possibly the most widely known person from the South Euclid-Lyndhurst area. Eric Carmen was born to Russian Jewish immigrant parents in Cleveland, Ohio, and was deeply involved with the music industry from an early age. When he was a sophomore at Charles F. Brush High School, he played the piano and sang rock and roll bands such as the Fugitives, the Harlequins, the Sound of Silence, and the Cyrus Erie. Carmen and some of his colleagues teamed up in the late 1960s and early 1970s to form the Raspberries, a band that was very prominent in the 1970s power pop style music scene. Carmen then went on to have a solo career as a musician with hits such as Hungry Eyes, Dirty, All by Myself, and She Did It. He had a few other ones as well. Hungry Eyes is a quintessential part of the soundtrack for the movie Dirty Dancing. He is currently still writing music and licensing it as well. Nicholas Casario, American football executive. Despite being from Lyndhurst originally, Nicholas Casario graduated from University School in 1994. He then went to John Carroll University in University Heights, Ohio, and graduated in 1998. While on the teams at these schools, he played the quarterback position. He then began his football career while serving as a graduate assistant at John Carroll University. He held similar positions at Saginaw Valley State University and Central Michigan University. Casario joined the New England Patriots in 2001 as a personnel assistant. In 2002, he served as an offensive coaching assistant for the team and then served as a scout for them in their scouting department in 2003. Between 2004 and 2006, he served as the Patriots Director of Pro Personnel. In 2007, he acted as the team's wide receiving coach. Many of the football players on the team went to set records during that specific season. In 2008, he returned to the personnel department of the Patriots. He assisted with the offensive coaching staff during the 2009 preseason. Nick Casario is well known for his meticulousness and thoroughness in understanding all aspects of football. His robotic personality is often considered to be a key to his success. Sharon Creech, American children's author and poet. Sharon Creech won the Newbery Medal in 1995 for her book, Walk to Moons. She started out writing adult fiction, but switched to young adult fiction later on. Her works often investigate the lives and experiences of children and younger teenagers. And an interesting note, her sister, Sandy Creech, was my second grade teacher. And I do remember having her books read to us by our teacher in second grade in class. We unfortunately never had a chance to meet her directly, as I believe she was living in Europe at the time. Alexander Gelman, Russian-American theater director. Alexander Gelman was born in Leningrad, USSR, which is now St. Petersburg, Russia. He literally took his first steps on the famous Mikhailovsky Theater, one of Russia's oldest opera and ballet houses. In 1973, he immigrated to Israel and then came to the USA in 1976. He graduated from Charles F. Brush High School in 1978. He frequently collaborates with some of the world's leading musicians, artists, companies, directors, and institutions to help develop different technologies for theater. His works are noted for mixing aspects of art, science, politics, and popular culture. While his work is initially simplistic and precise, it is often complex in philosophical and conceptual nature and presents viewers with pieces that often leave one contemplating the meaning of the interpretation of the works in their own minds rather than just seeing a solid contextual message on stage. Stephen Hadley, 21st U.S. National Security Advisor between 2005 and 2009. Hadley served as a senior foreign and defense policy advisor to Governor Bush during the 2000 presidential campaign. He worked with the Bush-Cheney transition team on the National Security Council portion of it. He replaced Condoleezza Rice as the National Security Advisor in 2005 when she was confirmed as Secretary of State. Hadley worked multiple corporate and advisory board positions. Hadley worked in multiple corporate and advisory boards for national security issues. He's known for his tendency to avoid large public attention so he can focus on his work. Hadley served as senior advisor for international affairs at the U.S. Institute of Peace in Washington, D.C., and has been working with multiple governmental and commercial organizations analyzing national security and stability issues. Hadley is also the co-founder and principal of the Rice Hadley Gates strategic consulting firm, along with Condoleezza Rice, Robert Gates, and Anya Manuel. Roy Hall, American professional football player. Roy Hall played for the Indianapolis Colts, the New Orleans Saints, and the Detroit Lions. Roy also played for the Omaha Nighthawks in the United Football League, which was or UFL, which was a short-lived American football league that existed between 2009 and 2012. In addition to his athletic career, he is also part of the Driven Foundation, which is an organization that assists people who were disadvantaged in improving life skills. In 2018, he ran the South Euclid Lyndhurst 5K to help raise money for families in the Northeast Ohio area. Carter Ham, retired U.S. Army general. Carter Ham was born in Portland, Oregon in 1952. He eventually moved to Ohio and graduated from Charles F. Brush High School in 1970. He then attended John Carroll University in University Heights, Ohio. Ham enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1973 and as an infantryman in the 82nd Airborne Division before being accepted in the Army Reserve, Army ROTC program while at John Carroll University. As commander of the African Command, he led Operation Odyssey in 2011, which was the initial U.S. military intervention in Libya. Ham served as the commanding general of the U.S. Army in Europe and with the 7th Army with the U.S. military from August 28th, 2008 to March 8th, 2011. Prior to that, he served as director for operations at the Joint Staff from August 2007 to August 2008, and was the commanding general 1st Infantry Division within the U.S. military from August 2006 to August 2007. And going back a little bit further, he was also the commander of Operation Able Sentry in what is today the country of North Macedonia in the mid-1990s during the Yugoslav Wars. Kenneth Landberger, former American professional baseball player. Kenneth Landberger was a professional American baseball player who played very briefly for the Chicago White Sox in 1952. His batting average reached approximately 3.0 at its highest level. After he left Major League Baseball, he coached many different minor league baseball teams. Some of these included the Superior Blues, the Colorado Spring Sox, the Denver Bears, the Memphis Chickasaws, the Seattle Rainiers, and the Selma Cloverleafs. His life was unfortunately cut short early when he died of leukemia at age 31 at the Cleveland Clinic in Cleveland, Ohio on July 28, 1960. He died only one day before his 32nd birthday. James D. Laughlin, James D. Laughlin, American professional football player. James D. Laughlin was a 1979 academic All Big Ten selection. Laughlin maintained a 3.15 GPA in business administration. He was active in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, the Central Ohio Heart Fund, the Multiple Sclerosis Campaign Fund, and the Columbus Children's Hospital Charity Drive. He played in the NFL in the late 1970s through the late 1980s for the Green Bay Packers, Los Angeles Rams, and Atlanta Falcons. As a co-captain of the 1979 Ohio State University football team, he played as a linebacker to help the team eventually get to the Rose Bowl. Unfortunately, he played during the time that which was the only Buckeyes loss within the Rose Bowl against the University of Southern California Trojans. But he was named team MVP and first team All Big Ten following his final season. In 3 seasons under college football coach Earl Bruce, who was a College Football Hall of Fame inductee, Laughlin helped the Ohio State Buckeyes to a 27-8-1 record and 3 appearances in the Big Ten title games and won 2 titles within those games. The team leader in tackles for loss, block punts, and fumbles recovered. He was a 3-time winner of the Agonis Club's Top Defensive Player of the Week award. Dan P. Masteller, former American baseball player. Originally drafted by the Minnesota Twins in the 11th round of the 1989 Major League Baseball draft, Masteller played in the organization until June 1995, when he made his major league debut. Masteller is noted for hitting the game-winning home run against Jack McDowell of the New York Yankees while he was playing on the Minnesota Twins. Jack McDowell was actually a winner of the Cy Young Award himself. Masteller was released after 1 season with the Minnesota Twins, but he did play very briefly for the Montreal Expos, who were also in the Major League Baseball at the time. And he also played for the Harrisburg Senators, who were a AA minor league Major League Baseball league. Sorry. The Harrisburg Senators, who were a AA Major League Baseball minor league team before his career ended in 1996. The Ponytails. This girl group began singing at Brush social events and benefits, which caught the attention of attorney John Jewett. Mr. Jewett introduced them to Tom Ilias, who directed them to Point Records. Their first song that was very popular was known as Que la Bozena, which they themselves wrote. After signing a deal with Point Records, they recorded the song Your Wild Heart. A cover version of Your Wild Heart was sung by another American pop musician at the time named Joy Lane. Her version of it reached number 20 of the Billboard Hot 100 in 1957. Their most famous song was 1958's Born Too Late, which reached number 5 in the UK singles charts, 7 on the Billboard Hot 100, and number 11 on the R&B charts in the USA in 1958. The Ponytails worked with several recording companies with their original songs, but overall they only had moderate success. Frank Prosse, Civil War veteran and historical figure in the South Euclid Lyndhurst area. Frank Prosse was the only person from the South Euclid Lyndhurst area to die in the Civil War. He owned a basket factory that was located about a mile away from the south, where the South Euclid War Memorial is today, at the corner of Mayfield and Green Roads. He was killed in the Battle of Chancellorsville in Spotsylvania, Virginia, which took place between April 30th to May 6, 1863. The tree that was dedicated to his honor at the South Euclid War Memorial was a sycamore tree that was grown from a seed that was propagated from Gettysburg itself during the American Civil War. It was dedicated to his memory during the 1998 Arbor Day celebration at the War Memorial. Jason Pryor, former American Olympian épée fencer and participant for Team USA at the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Olympics. In the 2014 to 2015 season, he won the USA National Championships. At his first major competition in the United States National Championships in 2014, he won a silver medal. Cleveland's NPR 90.5 radio station did a story on his achievements in 2016. Daniel Russell, Hollywood film editor and digital media editor. Daniel Russell grew up in South Euclid and attended Brush High School. He, along with Laura Brunkow and I, graduated in 2004. After he graduated, he went to Chicago, Illinois to attend college in that area and then eventually moved to Los Angeles. I've been friends with Dan for many years and have personally known his family as well. Some of the documentaries that he has worked on have been The Bitter Buddha, Flying Solo. He is a literal card-carrying member of the Writers Guild of America's Independent Writers Caucus, which is abbreviated as the WGAW-IWC. His screenplay, Goodbye Lyrics, was a Slamdance Award winner. Some of the TV shows he has worked on include Spy Kids, Mission Critical for Netflix, Mano a Mano for NBC Sports, and Foodalicious for the Travel Channel. He worked on short and feature films, music videos, and nonprofit projects. He also spent years cutting promos for NBC at Universal City. He was the writer and director of the short film Pareidolia, which screened nationally and internationally at different film festivals. In addition, Daniel Russell is also the very first child from Croatia to be adopted by American parents. At the time, Croatia was still part of the former country of Yugoslavia, but he was born in Zagreb, the capital of Croatia. Mary Doria Russell. Mary Doria Russell received her PhD in biological anthropology from the University of Michigan in 1983 and did anthropological research in Europe. Her science fiction novel, The Sparrow, which was published in 1996, was chosen as one of the 10 best books of the year by Entertainment Weekly, as well as winning the Arthur C. Clarke Prize and the British Science Fiction Association Award in 1998. She is the adopted mother of the previously mentioned Daniel Russell. She is fluent in Spanish and has familiarity with other languages as well. In the 1970s and 1980s, she lived in both Australia and Croatia. She was also the senior clinical instructor in human gross anatomy at Case Western Reserve University in their Department of Oral Biology, School of Dentistry between 1984 to 1986. The sequel of The Sparrow, The Children of God, which was published in 1998, won the Friends of the Library USA Readers' Choice Award and was nominated for the Hugo Award, Best Novel in 1999, as well as several other awards as well. Her novels are set in the 19th, 20th, and 21st centuries. Lucille Salhani, American media executive. During the height of her career, Lucille Salhani was one of the most powerful women within her specific field of business. Being of Jordanian and Lebanese heritage, she is also a very notable Arab American as well. She was crucial in assisting with the rebooting of the Star Trek franchise in the 1980s and in subsequent decades after that. She was the first woman to win the American Jewish Committee Cheryl C. Corwin Human Relations Award. She was inducted into the Broadcasting and Cable Hall of Fame in 1993. Rick Smith Jr., professional illusionist and magician and expert in card throwing magic tricks. Deriving his skills in card throwing from his time as a pitcher for Cleveland State's NCAA Division I baseball team, he has also released a number of instructional videos that describe practices for magic and card throwing. He is also noted for his success in being able to combine his talents with his business skills to run a successful company related to this skill. While I have not met Mr. Smith myself personally, I do remember seeing him perform a card trick at the auditorium at Charles F. Brush High School in the year 2000, a few weeks before I started high school there myself as a freshman. Stephen Stone, sportscaster, author, and former American professional baseball player. In 1968, he was drafted by the Cleveland Indians in the 16th round of the draft, but he did not sign. In February 1969, he was drafted by the San Francisco Giants in the 4th round of the draft secondary phase. From 1969 to 1971, Stone pitched in the minor leagues. In 1969, he pitched for the Fresno Giants. In 1970 for the Phoenix Giants and the Amarillo Giants. And then in 1971, he pitched for the Phoenix Giants again. He compiled a 32-24 record and struck out nearly every batter per inning. The Phoenix Giants are now known as the Phoenix Firebirds, while the Amarillo Giants are today the Amarillo Gold Sox. He took a break between reporting for the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago White Sox in the mid-2000s due to health issues. He spent most of his broadcasting career on the radio, but started being a TV host for sports comments with the Chicago White Sox in 2009. Stephen Stone is still, to this day, considered to be one of the best Jewish pitchers in Major League Baseball history. William Telling, entrepreneur, inventor, and philanthropist. William Telling was one of 10 children that was born in a farmhouse within the South Euclid area. This farmhouse is now where the Telling Mansion estate is. He is also credited with popularizing ice cream in the Cleveland area in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. He was the original owner of the William Telling Mansion, which is currently where the Museum of American Porcelain Art and the South Euclid Lyndhurst Historical Society have their museum spaces. The William Telling Mansion is listed within the National Register of historic places. The William Telling Mansion also served as the South Euclid Public Library until the 2010s, when the property was renovated to its current state. David Tobick, former American professional baseball player. David Tobick also played for several minor league teams in addition to playing for the Detroit Tigers, Texas Rangers, and Seattle Mariners. Some of the minor league teams included the Lakeland Flying Tigers, the Montgomery Rebels, the Evansville Triplets, and the Calgary Cannons. David Tobick's son, Daniel Tobick, played for several different minor league baseball teams affiliated with the Los Angeles Angels from 2012 to 2015. Carl Waltz, former NASA astronaut. Carl Waltz was a former American astronaut for NASA. He went up on about 6 space missions, though several of those overlapped with each other during that time. Waltz was formally assigned to the Exploration Systems Mission Directorate at NASA's headquarters in Washington, D.C. He was the acting director for the Advanced Capabilities Division in the Exploration Systems Mission Directorate and was responsible for a broad range of activities that included human research, technological development, nuclear power and propulsion development, and lunar robotics exploration development. All these programs were used to support America's vision for space exploration. I had the honor to work with Carl Waltz and other people interested in South Euclid and Lyndhurst history in my recent project that successfully renamed the asteroid, which is now called 20437 Seleucus 1999 JH1, after the South Euclid and Lyndhurst area. He is mentioned in the description of the asteroid name. In addition, Carl Waltz was influenced to go into his field by our own Al Ike from the South Euclid and Lyndhurst Historical Society when Mr. Ike was a physics teacher at Brush High School in the 1970s. Mr. Ike's influence helped Carl Waltz form an idea for the path that he would eventually go on to achieve such unique things. David S. Ward, American film director and screenwriter. Though Ward was born in Providence, Rhode Island, he grew up in South Euclid. He has a Bachelor of Arts degree from Pomona College in Claremont, California, as well as a Master in Fine Arts from both the University of Southern California and the University of California, Los Angeles Film Schools. His childhood in South Euclid in the 1950s and his love of baseball was his biggest influence in his work to create the major league genre. Some of his early works were less well received by critics, and some of them included his maiden directorial debut of Cannery Row in 1982 and its sequel in 1983, The Sting. He once said, "I figured the only way that the Cleveland Indians, were ever going to win anything within my lifetime was if I did a movie about it where they win." And also please note that the Cleveland Indians will now be called the Cleveland Guardians in the coming season and in the future. Within 10 years of the film's release, the then Cleveland Indians would actually appear in the World Series twice and again in 2016. Oliver Jiggs Wiggum III, American trombonist, bandleader, and music editor. Oliver Hayden Jiggs Wiggum III is president of the International Trombone Association, the ITA. He has achieved numerous awards and prestigious positions in the music world. He was featured as a soloist and first trombonist with the Glenn Miller Orchestra, and then later on with Stan Kenton. He became the featured soloist with the Kurt Edelhagen Jazz Orchestra in West Germany in 1985. In 1966, he was awarded the first prize at the Modern Jazz Awards in Vienna, Austria, which was the first competition of its type within that area of more modern jazz. In 1979, he was named professor and head of the jazz department at Cologne University in Germany within the College of Music. And this was the first appointment of its kind within the country of Germany. In 1995, he was named professor for life and head of the jazz department at the Hans Eisler College of Music in Berlin. What is also very interesting about Mr. Wiggum is that his own genealogical heritage is deeply ingrained into the history of South Euclid itself. The Wiggum's farm was the last farm in the immediate South Euclid area and was famous for its farmer's market. The land for the farm on Anderson Road was torn down in the early 1970s to make way for the Darrell estates. The farm's original 15 acres were acquired by John P. Wiggum between the years 1864 to 1865. He built a house on this land and he married a lady named Linda Krebel. They had two sons, Oliver H. and John C. John P. Wiggum died in 1912. His son Oliver took over the farm and was the mayor of South Euclid between 1930 to 1932. He married Agnes McDougall, and he himself later passed away in 1954 in the exact same room he was born in. Their only child, O. Hayden Wiggum, inherited the farm after him. He married a woman named Jean Laud and ran the farm for many years. He also served as a detective with the South Euclid Police Department and later passed away in November 1982. Their only child, O. Hayden Wiggum III, and the only child of O. Hayden Wiggum and Jean Laud was Oliver Hayden Jiggs Wiggum III, who was born in 1943. Honorable mentions. There are a few more individuals I would like to also discuss. These individuals aren't necessarily from the South Euclid and Lyndhurst area themselves, but their lives' accomplishments overlap with the area. Chester C. Bolton. Chester C. Bolton was a U.S. representative from Ohio and was the husband of Francis P. Bolton. He served as a member of the Lyndhurst Village Council from 1918 to 1921. Bolton served in the Ohio State Senate during the 1923 to 1928 timeframe and served as its president pro tempore in 1927 and 1928. He served as a delegate to the Republican National Convention in 1928. The Chester and Frances Bolton House is an historic landmark located in Lyndhurst near Euclid Creek. Frances P. Bolton, first woman elected to Congress from Ohio, and wife of Chester C. Bolton. Frances P.B. Bolton was a member of the Republican Party. Bolton and her husband donated land to their state to create the campus from their state to create the campus of Hawkins School in Lyndhurst, Ohio in 1922. The School of Nursing at Case Western Reserve University is named after her and is named the Frances Payne Bolton School of Nursing. Miss Bolton died in Lyndhurst on March 9th, 1977, and was interred at Lakeview Cemetery in Cleveland. Dudley S. Blossom, Cleveland businessman and philanthropist. Mr. Blossom's charitable activities eventually led him to civic office as the city welfare director of the city of Cleveland. He helped finance the Rainbow Children's Hospital, which started in South Euclid, but eventually moved to other parts of the city after it was destroyed by a fire. The Elizabeth B. and Dudley S. Blossom Estate Service Compound is still at Legacy Village in Lyndhurst. Mr. Blossom was the son of Dudley S. Blossom Sr. and Elizabeth Bingham Blossom. Elizabeth Bingham Blossom was the sister of Frances P.B. Bolton and was a philanthropist herself. Joshua A. Mandel, American Republican politician who served as the state treasurer of Ohio from 2011 to 2019, and was also a Lyndhurst city councilman in 2003 as well. Dr. Olgierd Linden. Born to Latvian parents, he escaped many obstacles during the Second World War and earned 2 doctorates and a postdoctorate. After the war, he researched poisonous fish in the Sahara Desert in Africa. He settled in Cleveland in 1957. Linden led studies of bed sores and artificial kidneys. He also helped to make medical devices to analyze blood and monitor patients automatically. He held 3 professorships in medicine and engineering at Case Western Reserve University. He later worked at the Cleveland Clinic's Center for Artificial Organs and on his own as a medical consultant. However, he is most well known for once having the world's largest collection of medical quackery devices at his mansion at what is now a personal home in South Euclid that is in between where the Telling Estate is and where Dorsch Road is. Recently, many of these items have been put up for auction to individuals and historical organizations that are interested in such items. But for a few years, South Euclid was known as the world capital of medical quackery devices, though that title has now been changed to other cities on the planet. And finally, I would like to talk about some of my own achievements. I am a geography professional, and I currently work as a reporting technician for a robotics company in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. I am an historical researcher and writer, and I myself have been part of South Euclid Lyndhurst history in several different ways. In addition to giving presentations like these for the South Euclid Lyndhurst Historical Society, I created the digital archive at the Cleveland Memory Project of historical photos that began all of this research in general in 2010. In relation to my research, I also made the Ohio Archaeological Index discovery 33 CU 529, an engraved sandstone block. As I stated previously, I organized the renaming of an asteroid 20437 Seleucia, 1999 JH1. And I also do volunteer work for an organization known as WikiTongues Incorporated that is attempting to preserve every language in the world through video recordings and support of language organization and preservation development. In the process of doing this, I also have written a few articles for their blog and routinely update a list of languages that are suggestions for their organization to look into. I am also the survivor of an infamous playground accident in 1993, in which I was suffocated while going down a slide during recess when I was in first grade. The incident took place on January 25th, 1993, and at the time of this recording, it has been only about 1 week since the 29th anniversary. As I was going down the slide, the plastic bead at the end of the string of my coat used the part that was used to adjust the size of the hood, got stuck in one of the holes in part of the slide. And as I went down the slide, I was unfortunately choked and suffocated. However, my life was saved by Ryan Santa, Kim Walden, and John Spofford. Ryan Santa and John Spofford were fellow students at the time at Adrian Elementary, and Kim Walden was our gym teacher. Ryan Santa, who was on the left, was able to pull the string out of the slide after 13 attempts. John Spofford went to tell Miss Walden that there was an issue, and Miss Walden came over and resuscitated me through CPR and fortunately saved my life. I'm very grateful to them, and I can never thank them enough for their service. From this incident, as you can see, I was in the front page of the Plain Dealer about a month after the incident in February 1993. And I was also on local news stations and in other local newspapers as well. I was also almost on Rescue 911, which was a popular show in the 1990s, discussing different types of emergency situations, though that unfortunately did not work out in the end. I intend to spend the rest of my life working to expand the list of achievements beyond what I mentioned here. This is an image of the certificate for the asteroid I named. I worked with Mr. Greg Leonard at the Catalina Sky Survey in Arizona to have an asteroid named after our area. The asteroid he chose was the first asteroid that was discovered within the JH range of the year 1999 with the astronomical categorizations that they use at their observatory. He chose this specific asteroid because it resembled my initials, and thus in a way my own initials are sort of part of the solar system as well. Conclusions. Starting from the late 19th century and going to modern times today, there have been many notable people that have come from the South Euclid-Lyndhurst area. There is a tendency for many of these notable people from the area to have more recognition of their work known in society rather than their own individual names. The professions of many of these notable individuals from South Euclid-Lyndhurst are in the fields of sports, politics, business, writing, science, music, arts and entertainment, and the military. Despite being only moderately well-known cities, South Euclid and Lyndhurst, Ohio, have produced many important individuals that have contributed to shaping our culture and our society in various ways. And I would like to end by asking who else in the future will be added to this list. Thank you very much.
Hi, Jay. This is Alice. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, doing okay. There's just a couple, I don't know if it would be notables or not, but I know Janice Williams and Sharetta Harrington, like the first Black families in South Euclid, and Sharetta Harrington was probably one of the, I'd have to verify, Sharetta's retired now, but she was an administrative judge for the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, probably one of the first Black female judges in the area, but they raised their families there.
Oh, okay.
And and then my ex-husband, David Miller, was the first Black male city council member in South Euclid and president.
Hey, thank you so much for sharing.
Sure. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, it's so, I didn't realize there was so much, and I'm getting ready to be real sarcastic and ugly because my son had such a difficult time with sports and brush. It leaves a very sore spot in me, in my soul. But we had some, Jay, the presentation was excellent. Thank you so much. It was incredible. But we have so many sports people. And my son's experience with sports at Brush was really quite hurtful and quite disappointing. And I don't know what happened. I don't know it's because a lot of the coaches and faculty end up having to do dual duty. I mean, you're a science teacher and then you got to do like scram, you have the science teacher and then you got to do soccer or you're so-and-so. And some places that have more affluence, I think, they can hire and pay trained sports coaches, probably because they just have the money to do that. And by the time my son went, a lot of the poor instructors and faculty had to do double duty, and they may or may not know, you know what, about a particular sports that intimately. So, and you know, our football season, you know, was dismal at times. Our baseball was dismal. Our sports program suffered for different reasons. I don't know why. I was just there, frustrated half the time. But the point is, it's amazing to have such a history of sports, of professional sports people come out of there. And then over the years, probably due to a number of factors, probably funding most of the time, we just don't have that level of
It was a good program. Well,
because a lot of the private schools
should have just
will
started
steal the
like 10
talent.
minutes ago.
I know a number of the private
Bob.
schools, you know, they steal the talent. They'll go to Catholic schools, they'll go to private schools, they'll draft. The private schools come looking at us and then they go grab the kids and pay for them to go to Ignatius or whatever. So, you know, a lot of things have happened in terms of sports programs, probably not just Brush, but it's just amazing. And I just want to comment, it was an excellent, thank you so much. And I want to mention those two people as well as the sports heritage is quite incredible. Thanks, Jay.
You're welcome. You like my presentation. Are there any other questions or comments?
How can we watch this? You recorded this, right?
Yes, I am in the process of recording it now, and I will eventually load this up to my YouTube channel where the other presentations are.
Can you send a link
Great.
to that, to the group?
Yes. I first, after the video has completed, it needs some time to load itself up. But I will also send the link to Bob, and we'll try to post the link as well.
That'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jay. It was excellent. Very good.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
I think the person who's listed there as Obermans wanted to say something, but I kept muting her
Oh, okay.
because she was talking at the same time as others. So I asked her to unmute, but that hasn't happened yet. I felt there should be one category of dishonorable mentions. That would be Ardell Quinn, who was the madam of the Holiday Royal Supper Club before she was busted for violating the Mann Act, which has come to attention in recent news.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
I had asked when we did the history book if I should mention the bordello, and a little 80-year-old lady at the back of the room at a meeting just like this said, "You have to, it's part of our history."
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Okay, Mrs. Obermans or Oberman?
Yes. Hi,
What?
it's Carolyn Charles. This is my husband, Dick Obermans.
Did you want to say something about the program?
No, I think I got unmuted by mistake.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Then if not, then I will stop recording, and I thank you all for coming. And I look forward to seeing you all at the next presentation. Thank you. All right.
Okay, Jay, bad news for you is Puxatawny Phil saw his shadow. So you're not going to have an early spring, but Buckeye
Nope.
Chuck didn't see his shadow. So here we're going to have an early spring in Ohio.
Yeah. Jay,
Yeah.
I have colleagues in Pittsburgh, and I was online when that bridge collapsed. I know exactly where that bridge was.
Yes.
Do you live anywhere around Point Breeze or any of that area?
I live about 15 to 20 minutes away from there, and I was very familiar with that bridge as well. We were all very surprised last week when that occurred, but we were all very, very grateful
Yeah.
that no one lost their lives.
Yep.
It was also very, very ironic. It was the exact same day that President Biden was
Yep.
coming to Pittsburgh to discuss the very thing that happened
Yep.
with infrastructure development.
Yep.
But
Interesting.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
The only really bad thing, other than the bridge collapsing itself, that has come from this, though, is that it is rerouting traffic in the city in that area. And I know several people who have been disgruntled that their schedules have now become very, very more complicated because of this incident.
Yeah. Yeah. Nick, isn't there another gentleman here online who lives in the burg?
Yes.
Nick.
Yeah,
Nick?
I live in the suburbs, kind of outside, pretty far outside of Pittsburgh. But I work now in Mount Lebanon,
Okay.
where Jay lives, and I'm up there a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to live there. It's pretty terrifying, what happened.
It is
So, it
scary.
is. Mm-hmm.
If I believed in urban legends or myths or whatever, if I aspired to those things, I'd kind of wonder about that happening right before the president wanted to talk about infrastructure.
Isn't that something? Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah,
bizarre.
You'll find people will say it was planned, but
No, I don't think
it
so.
wasn't, but you know, people will talk like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully they'll get on it and not only rebuild that bridge, but pay more attention to all the ones we have, since there's so many, and make sure they're up to snuff for us.
Absolutely. All right.
Sister Eileen, did you want to say something?
She needs to unmute, I think.
Mute, yes, it was very interesting. Many of those
thank you.
people I had known about, but many were new to me. It was
Yeah.
very interesting. A
Yes,
lot
it
of research
was.
went into that.
Mhm.
Yes.
Very good.
And there very well may be even more than that in several other areas, but for the research I did, those were many of the individuals I wanted to point out. Okay, well, if there are no more questions or comments, I would like to thank you all for coming and have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Jay.
Thank you.